thank you so much for staying and being here. And I've been tremendously excited all throughout this conference, and I'm just so blessed just to be here with all of you. I really am, and I just want to express to you from the bottom of my heart just how much it means to me and everybody at the Community Miracle Center and all the staff that you're here and that you came and that you're playing with us and participating with us and open to the theme. You know, that's our theme. Why don't we all read it out loud together? Here we go. Love makes no exceptions. Okay, so you know, Reverend Kelly mentioned a little bit of my hit on this. You know, it's kind of usual to talk about how we don't make exceptions with the love we extend to others. But for me, this theme really struck about not making exceptions with the love that I should feel for myself. And I know those two things are related. Actually, they're directly proportional to one another. I don't really think that you love other people, but you don't love yourself. And you know, sometimes people say, you know, I'm really great with other people, but I'm really hard on myself. I don't actually think that's true. I think you're actually exactly the same. So if you're hard on other people, you're probably pretty hard on yourself. If you love other people, you probably love yourself pretty well too. I think those things are identical. And but sometimes you're forced to focus in on one of them a little more than the other. So I've been talking about some of the things, like after Las Vegas, I mean, I was having a hoot in Las Vegas, and I planned that presentation, and I was going to take my clothes off, you know, just down to the skivvies, and I ran it by a majority of my board of directors, and they seemed like that was a good idea, so we went with it. Of course, I probably didn't tell a few board members who probably wouldn't have liked the idea. And when they found out I was right, of course that was my thought, that was what projected out there, I was right, they didn't like the idea. And there was a fallout, and we lost some board members, and then there were a lot of people in the audience who I thought were all going to think this was just such a hoot. You know, here we were in Las Vegas, strippers everywhere, I thought it was such a hoot. But not everybody thought it was such a hoot. And it was hard for me. It was a hard thing to do. So after Las Vegas, I really felt like I was being crucified. I knew I was somehow doing it to myself, but the projection was that it seemed to be coming from other people. I mean, that's what it felt like. You know, as I said, the theme for Boston is the power to heal. And I mean, I had to work with that. I had to heal that. I had to heal that feeling. And again, the quote, nothing will be beyond your healing power, because nothing will be denied your simple request. The truth is, I really got it. I had to ask for help. I had to ask for help. I had to ask to be healed. I threw it out into the community. I threw it out in emails, you know, help me, heal me. And I got a lot of wonderful responses from people in support. I mean, I got a lot of responses in support, but, you know, and they saved me. They took me off the cross. It was great. And but you do have to ask. And I think I find in the Course in Miracles community, sometimes people are afraid to ask. They're afraid to ask for healing. You know, we have the healing team. Been talking about the healing team, and one of the members of the healing team, you know, I talked to her occasionally, and all of a sudden I found out she was in the hospital with this severe influenza that had gone into pneumonia, really sick in the hospital. And I found out, and I said, why didn't you ask us to pray for you? You know, you're on the healing team. We're praying for all these people with all these conditions, and you've been in the hospital, you didn't ask us to pray for. Oh, well, you know, I have a hard time asking for it for myself. So, I mean, that's really the main message here that I want. I'm going to give you the main message right now. Ask for it! Ask for it! And if you're feeling crucified, your asking for it is not going to be very refined. You know, it's not going to be very refined. Reverend Lucas read, "It can be but yourself you crucify." I'm sorry. If it can be but yourself you crucify, you did not hurt the world and need not fear its vengeance and pursuit, nor need you hide in terror from the deadly fear of God projection hides behind. So you don't have to hide in terror when crucifixion appears to be happening to you. You can ask for it, and the asking does not have to be refined. In fact, it's not going to be. If you want to be authentic, and we want to be authentic, sometimes you'll just cry out in pain, "Isn't there anybody out there who will save me?" And I've been in that place many times in my life, and I'll tell you, sometimes you don't get the answer immediately, but the answer always comes. And I'm always willing to just be who I am in my pain sometimes. Isn't there anybody out there who will heal me, who will save me? So I ask for help all the time. And I ask for help in everything, big things, little things. And yeah, I ask for help finding parking. I am one of those people who ask for help finding parking. I used to ask help for the Holy Spirit finding parking, but I just got such flack about that. So I guess because Course in Miracles people think you're not supposed to ask the Holy Spirit help finding parking. But whoever said that didn't live downtown in a big city. They lived in the country somewhere. Somewhere in the hills or desert or something like that. So if you live, you need help, and you want to crucify yourself, look for parking in downtown San Francisco. But okay, so you can't say that the Holy Spirit helps. So the parking angel, I just developed the parking angels. Parking angels, the Holy Spirit's kind of distant cousin, something, I don't know. Birthed out of wedlock while the mother was on vacation in Aruba or something. I don't know. But anyway, the parking angel's really cool. Parking angel's not real sophisticated. You can talk to the parking angel however you want. You can yell, you can scream, you can plead. But the thing is, you have to ask. Honestly, you really do have to ask. So I've developed all kinds of ways by asking the parking angel. You know that there's a little French song, Alouette, chante alouette, alouette, chante promenade. Don't ever try to find out what that means. It's really clear. But I do. Parking angel, I need to find a parking place. Parking angel, find a parking place. Is there a parking place? No, there is no parking place. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. There it is. There it is. Whoa. If you can't use the Holy Spirit to find parking place, what the fuck good is he? If you got the thought that there's no parking and you believe there's no parking, what you're going to manifest is no parking. You got to find happy ways to shift that belief. You got to believe that there's going to be parking for it. You got to use whatever you got. Use whatever you got. Ask from wherever you're at. There's this thought about crucifixion. In crucifixion is redemption laid. For healing is not needed where there is no pain or suffering. So whenever we need a little redemption, we manifest a little crucifixion. So you can shift it. It's just like if something is happening that seems to be crucifying you, I'm going to manifest a little redemption now. And that's a really, really good thing. And remember, the Course says, the secret of salvation is but this, that you are doing this unto yourself. No matter what the form of the attack, this still is true. So we're always doing it to ourselves. I must have had thoughts of crucifixion in my mind, maybe left over from the 2015 New York City conference, that then manifested so wonderfully for the 2016 Las Vegas conference. So be careful when you're thinking about crucifixion, because you might just manifest it. Because remember what A Course in Miracles says. It's hard to recognize that thought and belief combine in a power surge that can literally move mountains. Mm-hmm. Thought and
Hey, Reverend Tony, I have a delivery.
Delivery?
Yes, delivery.
Delivery?
package, but they wouldn't let me bring him in.
Right now.
Reverend Tony, you scoundrel, I finally found you. You have committed crimes against the worldwide A Course in Miracles community. I am Centurion Petronius, and I come from the ancient world, sent by the very Caesar Augustus to fix the botched job from 2,000 years ago.
How did you get here from the past?
Like everybody else that time travels, I hitched a ride with Art in person. They gave me some trouble about the cross, but when I told them it was for you, they said no problem. Now let's get this scoundrel on the cross. Legionnaire Dusicus, come out here. Dusicus, you are a legionnaire of the Roman Empire. Will you please act like it? Will you put this man on the cross? The cross, remember the thing we crucify people on? Reverend Tony, the crimes against you are vast and many. The first crime, you used the Course in Miracles to justify your non-monogamous, bisexual lifestyle. Your second offense.
I was just trying to love everybody equally and not put anybody special.
Your second offense. You disrespected A Course in Miracles community in 2007 by presenting in drag as your imaginary sister, Reverend Antoinette.
Imaginary? She's not imaginary.
Your third offense. In 2007, you implied that the honorable presenters, like Robert Perry, were godless, and thus stopped him from presenting at future conferences.
I was just quoting a Leonard Cohen song.
A likely story. Crime number 4. At the 2015 New York City conference, you offended the admired author Gary Renard by saying that the FIP edition of A Course in Miracles was based on a lie.
I apologize for that.
Implying that the other members of the FIP were founders were liars as well.
And I apologize for that.
Crime number 5. Offended many participants at the 2016 A Course in Miracles conference in Las Vegas by stripping on stage and appearing almost nude to the shock of innocent women and children.
It was Las Vegas! I always wanted to say I stripped in Las Vegas.
Crime number 6. You have perverted the teachings of A Course in Miracles by forming a legal church and trying to turn A Course in Miracles into a religion.
It isn't religion, just look the word up in the dictionary.
Excuses. Is there anyone else out there with grievances and criminal offenses against Reverend Tony?
Don't get me started.
I gotta get in on this. If I wear this uniform one more time, there's no more place to put cars. I can't add more fabric. And I don't even care if it's red. I can't have it. Crucify him.
Crucify him! Crucify him! Crucify him! Oh, come on, we can do better than that. Crucify him! Crucify him! Crucify him!
Grievance.
Reverend Tony, why do you always have to say ladies and gentlemen and non-binary people? Why can't you just say our mighty companions? That's all you have to say. Crucify him.
Crucify him. Crucify him.
Are there any others?
I can't take it anymore! 30 years! You! Trying to sing Hey Jude! You! Trying to sing Gloria by Ray Charles! Jerusalem! Make him dead.
Of course she does.
I got a grievance that I was not even asked to be part of this finality. The only role that they gave me was to be the servant to bring up the ladder and the rope. I am not a servant. I am not your slave, and I hate this damn man.
So I see the case and the crimes against the Reverend Tony Ponticello has. Do you have any final last words?
Isn't there anybody out there who can save me?
I forgive you, Tony. I love you, Tony. And we all forgive you. And this is not about crucifixion. This is about forgiveness. So love makes no exceptions. And I was tempted for you to be an exception. But then I thought, no, this is my brother. Now, I want to explain something to you about brotherhood. Because I have a brother who lives in Florida, and we used to always fight with each other. But at the end of the day, we were still brothers. And we always loved each other. And that is what the relationship between Tony and me has been for the last 14 years or so, because he was the first one who ever invited me to come out here to California. And we did a workshop with Reverend Larry and Reverend Tony and out in the Muir Woods. And yeah, we have had our disagreements at times, but at the end of the day, we are still brothers. And we still love each other. And love makes no exceptions. And I really love the theme of this weekend. And by the way, Reverend Tony was generous enough and kind enough to ask me to speak next year in Boston. Which just happens to be my old stomping grounds. But I'm very grateful to him for all that he's done for me over the years. He's always been very kind to me over the years, and we like have a falling out every now and then, and I have a falling out every now and then with other course teachers. But at the end of the day, they are my brothers and my sisters, and I love them, and I always will love them, and I will always love you, and I am so grateful to you for the kindness that you've shown me over the years. And I am so grateful to Reverend Tony. And Tony, you get down off that cross there.
I don't know what's happened here. Deucicus, take Tony off the cross. I don't understand what's happened here. The case against Reverend Tony was foolproof. Now I remember. A Course in Miracles teaches God's own high court will forgive you, even though you have built the case against you, and it appears that it is foolproof. In fact, God's case wins it out. Yes, Deucicus.
Centurion Petronius. A Course in Miracle teaches us to make no exception to our love. We at the Community Miracle Center don't exempt anyone from our love. We don't exempt the founders, the Foundation for Inner Peace from our love. We don't exempt Gary Renard from our love. We don't exempt you, Centurion Petronius, from our love. We certainly don't accept our own beloved Reverend Tony from our love. How could this happen? Okay. Come on, everybody. Oops. Come on, everyone. You know why. We all know why. Because love makes